Hello, hello. I want to share my menopause story with you. I have been perimenopausal since about my late 40s into my early 50s. And initially, I did not know that I was perimenopausal. I thought that I was just hot and just uncomfortable because of my weight. And little did I know that I was perimenopausal, which means the transition period before you reach menopause. We know there are some common symptoms that you will have if you are perimenopausal. And the one I hear the most is hot flashes, night sweats, also not sleeping, frequent urination, going to the restroom, especially in the middle of the night. And I've also heard a lot of women talk about their cycles. The most common symptom of perimenopause is irregular cycles. The irregular cycle is what let me know that something was not right with my body. There was some kind of shift. When I turned 50, I started having irregular cycles. I keep track of my cycles on an app, and the app is called Maya. I don't pay for it. It is free, and I would just put in every time I've had a cycle. Before perimenopause, my cycles were like clockwork, right? I'd never had a delay. I could predict it every 28 days. I knew exactly when it was coming. And then, of course, with the app, I've been tracking with the app for 3 or 4 years, if not more. So I knew exactly when my cycle was coming. I started having irregular cycles, and not only were they irregular, which means they were unpredictable, when I actually had a cycle, it was like a tsunami would come. So I wouldn't have a cycle for 1 or 2 months. I would skip. And then I would have a cycle and it would be super heavy. Now, a little history about me is I've always had a lot of bleeding during my cycle time. I would also have what we call like little clots in the blood. So that was normal, at least that what I thought. Then when I started to be perimenopausal, those kind of lightened up. I think those lightened up, and it was just a lot of bleeding. And so one day, it got so bad to the point where I was having my perimenopausal symptoms of not sleeping. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. Not sleeping is also a symptom. I was having sweats and night sweats. I've heard people describe their sweating and hot flashes as being like all out. It comes all of a sudden. You have to take clothes off. You're in a panic. People have felt their heart rates go up. I haven't had symptoms like that to that degree. My symptoms have been just, I've gotten hot. Like all of a sudden I got hot and bothered and flustered. And as a result, in my house, any day it could be cold and any day it could be a little warmer. Let's just say my daughter has learned to keep a sweatshirt on hand for my unpredictable body temperature regulations. It's sweet and it's funny. She just knows what to do. And my cycles had started to become more and more heavy. And so there were some days that I just could not go to work. I could not go to work. I was having that much of a bleeding that was taking place. Last year, I had a hard time at work. I had to stay home more than I would have liked to because of my cycle. So I finally said to my doctor, like, something is going on here. Something is not right. My doctor, of course, instructed me to talk to my gynecologist, which I did. And my gynecologist told me that if you're going for months and months without a cycle, when you have a cycle, it's going to be like a tsunami. That she said is quite normal. And so I thought, okay. I listened to her. And then after a while, I just thought something has to give because I can't function at work. This was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. If you are enjoying this video so far, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed and join me on my journey. So one day I was on my cycle and it was super heavy. So I had on 2 or 3, like a super plus support. I had 2 pads on and the pads were super, and a liner on top of that because I knew my cycle was heavy. I sat on the couch and was watching TV, and the next thing I know, I felt wetness within about 5 minutes of sitting down. Now, mind you, I had just freshened up and thought I was ready to go. And I'm sitting there, and the longer I sit there, 5 minutes in, and then I was like, oh, something feels wet. I was so confused because I thought, there's no way this could be already when I just freshened up. And so little did I know, to my surprise, I started to feel wetter and wetter the longer I sit there. And within, I would say 10 minutes, I got up and there was blood everywhere. Now, at the time, I was at home with my cousin and my daughter. My cousin's a guy, so I was so embarrassed for him to see that. I was even embarrassed for my daughter to see that. And so I discreetly got myself up and I looked back on my couch and it was blood everywhere. Now, thank goodness my couch is red. I love all things red. And so it blended in. Of course, the back of me, I think I had on some black pants so it wasn't obvious. I cleaned up the couch just really quickly, went upstairs, took everything off and took a shower. And I knew then if I was on my cycle and I was heavy like this, there's no way I could go to work. I'm an educator. How would my students feel seeing me like that? And accidents can occur, and I just did not want to embarrass myself, and I didn't want to expose my students to that. So that's the day I knew that I had to talk to my gynecologist and something had to change. I don't know if it was a mindset that had to change or if it was what I was doing that had to change, but I knew a change had to occur. And so I went to my gynecologist. I asked for a biopsy because I wanted to make sure that nothing more severe was wrong. I started to Google things and I started to feel like something was going on here. And so I had a biopsy. The biopsy came back that everything was fine. My blood levels indicated that I was perimenopausal. And so that was the first confirmation I had of it. After finding out I was perimenopausal, I started researching what all that meant. And I was so shocked because so many women I know, when I started talking to women I know, they've all had hysterectomies, including my own mom who had a hysterectomy. And if you know anything about a hysterectomy and the part it plays in your hormones, those women could not relate to my experience because their experience is a little bit different. So I just felt like I was like on an island on my own. So I started to research symptoms and I came across 50 symptoms, even up to 100 symptoms that are related to being perimenopausal. And I thought, why aren't people talking about this? Why aren't people talking about this? I remember when my mom had a hysterectomy, I may have been in my 20s at the time. I don't really remember us having a detailed conversation about it. So I always wonder, like, why when it comes to perimenopause and menopause symptoms, why aren't more women talking about it? You want to know why? Do you want to know why? I don't really know for sure. I don't have research to back this up, but I do think it's because women are taught at a young age to not talk about our bodies, right? We're told talking about anything related to our body parts is just not something that we should be doing. And women have stuck to that. You don't really hear a lot of women open up about their bodies and what's happening with their bodies. And so I want to be one of those women, just regular women. I know some celebrities. Halle Berry is opening up about it. Oprah talks about it. Drew Barrymore talks about it. But I want to be one of those women that's also talking about what's going on with our bodies, because I don't want my daughter to grow up and not know what is going to happen with her body when there is a change. She's going to have this video to refer to, but she's also going to have me in her ear talking to her about how your body changes and what changes your body goes through. I do know a lady that told me, and she's a friend, I should say, that told me that she went through menopause in her late 30s. And she said, thank goodness she had already had her children, because otherwise she would have been very upset. But she went through the change early. So normally that change takes place in your 40s and 50s. But I do know, like I said, a lady who had gone through it in her late 30s. Being aware that I was perimenopausal armed me and made me aware of my body even more. So every little symptom that I would get after that, I started to research, and I was on it. There's another thing that happened down the road for me. My legs were swelling, and that could also be a symptom of perimenopause. And I thought, am I retaining water? What's going on? So of course I did what we do. I got on Google and I started researching. And when I looked on Google, it said that my symptoms could be perimenopause. It said that my symptoms could be from being overweight. It also said that my symptoms could be a blood clot. So right away, I thought, I am going to the emergency. I'm not even going to urgent care. I'm going to the emergency. I want them to be able to take an ultrasound and see what's moving and how things are working in my leg. And that's what I did. It was like in the leg up to going into my knee. So that's what I did. I went to the emergency and I was there for 3 to 4 hours. It was well worth the wait. They did an ultrasound to look at how things were moving in my leg. It was put on some kind of machine. And so I just was happy that I was going to find out exactly what was going on. And I'll never forget, this doctor came in and he's like a fit guy. And he told me, he said, I don't do this often, but I'm going to tell you what I don't tell most people that come through this emergency room because they won't listen. He said, I am going to tell you what you can do to help yourself at this point. He said, and he told me his story about how he was overweight and how he basically, with lifestyle changes, he lost weight. One of the things he said to me was, I had arthritis in my knee. I did not have a blood clot in my knee. And he told me to eat healthier. He told me to get some movement in. And he told me to focus on more protein, less carbs. And he said, just drop some pounds. He said, that's the best thing you can do for your knee. Another thing he told me was that I should focus on strength training. He said, you don't want to put a lot of pressure on your knee. And that has really stuck with me on my current weight loss journey. There are so many ladies I see exercising and moving around and doing all of that. But at 300 plus pounds, that's hard to do. That's hard on your knee. And I always say, if you have ever talked to me, I do not want to have a knee injury and I do not want to have a back injury. Those are the two injuries that I've seen women have, and they have not easily recovered. Now, some do. It's never an all. I've just seen enough of it to know I don't want those kind of injuries. And so for me, I decided to do some strength training without weights and doing those little things that I can do, like leg lifts and squats and sit-ups and just doing little things, push-ups on my bedpost. Those are some of the things that I was incorporating on my weight loss journey. And so I have backed off of the cardio and focus on the strength training, which is really helpful when you're perimenopausal. I am slimming down, and that has helped so much with my perimenopause symptoms, but they are still in effect. Now, if you're anything like me, you may be asking, how am I going to know if I'm perimenopausal? What are the symptoms? Well, I will share with you, I did find out that there is not one single test that a doctor could do, just one test exclusively to determine if you're perimenopausal. But what they will do is order some lab testing, have you track your symptoms, and look at your medical history to determine your hormone status. Let's just get right into it. What are the 50 symptoms of perimenopause? And when I say 50, it's probably even more than that. But I want you to really listen to these symptoms. And if you have any of these things, a combination of these things, leave a comment in the chat and let me know. And have you been checked out to see where your hormone levels are? And if you are, in fact, going through that transition to menopause. So here are the 50 symptoms. Irregular periods, hot flashes, night sweats, breast tenderness, bloating, fatigue, mood swings, anxiety, depression, and irritability. Insomnia, reduced libido, vaginal dryness, heavy or prolonged menstrual bleeding, spotting between periods, difficulty concentrating, memory lapses, headaches or migraines, joint pain, muscle aches, weight gain, changes in appetite, increased PMS symptoms, breast changes, which is swelling or soreness, dry skin, thinning hair, hair loss, brittle nails, dizziness, heart palpitations, digestive issues, constipation or diarrhea, increased urination frequency, urinary incontinence, which basically means you can't control your bladder, increased risk of UTIs, tingling sensations, burning mouth or tongue, changes in body odor, cold flashes, allergies or sensitivities to food, increased sweating, loss of skin elasticity, back pain, changes in your menstrual cycle length, water retention, gum problems, tendinitis, which is ringing in your ears, muscle tension, reduced muscle mass, and fluctuations in cholesterol levels. Any of those symptoms, a combination of those symptoms, could mean that you are perimenopausal. So you may be asking, what if I'm having these symptoms and what can I do about it? I'm going to start with the irregular cycle. That was that irregular cycle is a lot of women's first sign that they may be perimenopausal. I'm going to talk about some treatments. We will talk about how your GLP-1 medication can help you with your perimenopausal symptoms. You don't have to be taking a GLP-1. If you're on a weight loss journey or a health and wellness journey, these tips and strategies can help you as well. So let's get started. Let's talk about the treatment for irregular periods during perimenopause. That is one of the most common symptoms women are having. So what can we do about that? Lifestyle changes. We can incorporate a healthy diet. That includes eating fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins. All those things can help regulate your hormones and stabilize your blood sugar levels. Exercise. Regular exercise, physical activity, or any kind of movement can help maintain a healthy weight and reduce stress, which can positively impact your hormonal balance. And stress reduction. We know stress plays a role with our hormones and with our day-to-day functioning of activities. So to reduce that stress, practices like yoga, meditation, and mindfulness, just being mindful of your day and how things are going, that can help you manage your stress. And if you manage your stress, that can contribute to more regular cycles. I did not know that. I did not know that managing my stress is going to help regulate my cycles. So right there, you have me at hello, stress reduction. What else can we do beyond the lifestyle changes? So what can we do to actually treat the symptoms that are not necessarily lifestyle related? Another thing we can do is get hormone therapy. So birth control pills, low-dose birth control pills can help regulate your menstrual cycle. It can also help alleviate some of those other perimenopause symptoms such as hot flashes and mood swings. Wouldn't that be great to control or get rid of those, right? Progesterone therapy. Progesterone can be prescribed to regulate cycles and manage heavy bleeding. And that's something that affected me, the heavy bleeding. Hormone replacement therapy, known as HRT. For some women, HRT may be recommended to balance your hormone levels and reduce your symptoms, although this is usually considered when you're closer to menopause. I've heard a lot of women talk about getting hormone replacement therapy and having great success with it, and I've also heard some women who say they have not. So I would definitely talk to your healthcare provider, talk to your doctor, and see what your options are. So that takes us to number 3. Number 3 is non-hormonal medication. So what does that look like? What is that? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They can help reduce heavy bleeding and menstrual pain. Tranexamic acid. This medication reduces heavy bleeding by promoting blood clotting. And antidepressants. For those experiencing mood-related symptoms along with irregular periods, certain antidepressants may be helpful. Personally, I haven't taken any of these non-hormonal medications, so before you try anything, I would definitely do a little bit more research, dig a little bit deeper, and contact your doctor or healthcare professional so they can give you some support with this. Number four is supplements and alternative treatments. So herbal supplements, some women find relief with herbal supplements like black cohosh. I've heard people talk favorably about that. Evening primrose oil and chasteberry. Consult a healthcare provider once again before using any of these. Also, acupuncture. This traditional practice may help reduce perimenopause symptoms, including irregular periods, by promoting hormone balance. And I know some people who love this, love the acupuncture. They say it works. That's also something you could try if you're willing to do some alternative therapies. And finally, medical procedures. If you have a heavy cycle and irregular periods beyond even what I explained, I would definitely consider and weigh your options. Two options that I will talk about is endometrial ablation. For severe bleeding, this procedure can remove or thin the lining of the uterus to reduce or stop your bleeding altogether. Or you could also get an IUD. A hormonal IUD can help reduce heavy bleeding and regulate your periods. So how does this relate to weight loss and GLP-1? What is the impact with GLP-1 medications? That's what we really want to know. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. If you are enjoying this video so far, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed and join me on my journey. If you are taking a GLP-1, if you're on a weight loss journey, prioritize that protein. How many times have we said that? It is so true. Prioritize that protein and strength training to prevent muscle loss. And why? Because perimenopause and GLP-1 medications can both contribute to muscle loss and slowing down that metabolism. So what should you do? Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal and do some strength training at least 2 to 3 times per week. I say 3 times a week. I say go for the gold, go for 3. Body weight exercises, use those resistance bands or weights. I think that's a great idea to start with your body weight, using your own body weight for the exercises. Then move to those resistance bands. That's going to give you a little extra stress and tension on those muscles that you need to develop them. And then once you have that and you're comfortable with that, you can do some things with ease. Now it's time to challenge those muscles again and add those weights. A bonus tip is add collagen or protein powder to your smoothies if you struggle with protein intake. And I know a lot of people in the GLP-1 community talk about doing that. So add that protein powder to give you an extra boost of protein. Number 2, we can manage blood sugar and reduce cravings and energy crashes. So why is this important? Perimenopause causes insulin resistance, and while GLP-1s help, stabilizing blood sugar further reduces mood swings and cravings. So what can you do? Focus on those fiber-rich carbs. You hear me? Fiber-rich carbs. What are they? Vegetables and whole grains, and pair those carbs with proteins and fats to avoid blood sugar spikes. Now here's a bonus tip. Use a continuous glucose monitor if you want to track blood sugar trends. I haven't used that yet, but I think I may need to get that. So leave a comment in the comment section and let me know, are you tracking your blood glucose levels? And what does that look like for you? That brings us to number 3, support sleep and reduce those night sweats. Let me say that one again. Support sleep and reduce those night sweats. Why? Because poor sleep worsens weight gain, cravings, and stress, which are common struggles in perimenopause. So what can you do about it? Keep your bedroom cool. And I will say this does work. 65 degrees or lower. Because this medication makes me cold already, sometimes I feel like I'm freezing. I'm not just staying cool. And I might have to add some socks, and I might have to put a little extra blanket. I know people have electric blankets. But I will say keeping that room cool is really going to help with sleep, because we know it's hard to sleep when you're hot or very warm. So I think this is a great tip. Take magnesium glycinate before you go to bed. And number 3, avoid heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol late at night. Now, here's a bonus tip. Some women find that, we talked about this already, the HTR, hormone therapy, or herbal supplements like ashwagandha or black cohosh, they find those to be really helpful. So please talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor if you see anything on any of these lists that I'm mentioning, if they interest you. I would do my own little research and talk to your healthcare professional. Number 4, monitor bone and joint health to prevent weakness and pain. Now, why is this important? Because estrogen decline increases the risk of osteoporosis and joint pain, and rapid weight loss can actually add to this. So what is the girl to do? You can take calcium, vitamin D, and K2 for bone support. Get that walking in. Engage in weight-bearing exercises. And when they say weight-bearing, they mean walking, yoga, strength training. A bonus tip is if you have joint pain, omega-3s or turmeric supplements may help. Now, I knew about the omega-3s, but I'm learning something new with these turmeric supplements. I will be ordering some turmeric supplements to see how that goes. I want to see how that's going to work out. Number 5, adjust your mindset and lifestyle for long-term success. And why? Because weight loss during perimenopause is different. It's all about sustainability, not quick fixes. Let me say that again. No quick fixes. What can you do? So you can practice stress management. We talked a lot about stress already. Meditating, breathing deeply, journaling. Journaling is a good one. Writing things down, getting that stress out, especially if you find yourself feeling like you have no one to talk to or you feel alone. I think journaling will end up being a great tool for you. Focus on progress, not perfection. I always say that. Progress, not perfection. Your body is changing and that is okay. And I have learned to embrace that progress, not perfection. It sounds good and gimmicky, but it's actually very true. Enjoying the process of what we're doing and how we're progressing along and not trying to be perfect, because we all make mistakes and no one is perfect after all. Another thing we can do is build micro habits for daily success, walking after our meals and meal prepping. I will say building healthy habits and habit stacking is the best thing you can do. And I call that all those things basically like a part of your routine, right? Building that routine. A routine is what you do consistently every day. So I have a routine in my home. My daughter is a part of that routine. She knows what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. And all of those routines and that habit stacking and being consistent with it is building some great long-term habits for me. I would definitely build those micro habits and practice them every day. Consistency is the key. So you can have some micro habits, but you have to do it consistently. The bonus tip is consider working with a functional medicine doctor or a nutritionalist who specializes in perimenopause. And I would agree with this 110%, 110%. So check and see if your insurance covers it. My insurance does cover it, and that's something I used to do. And I plan to start back up with that. I plan to have a nutritionist look at my diet, go through things with me, and I'm going to do that in the next few weeks coming up here and get that going, get the ball rolling with that. So if your insurance covers it, why not try it? So there you have it. That is all about the symptoms of perimenopause. So please let me know in the comments, did anything I talked about in this video resonate with you? I would love to know. Are you having perimenopausal symptoms? Are you actually in menopause? And if so, what are you doing about it? If you found anything in this video helpful, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and most importantly, share it. Share it with someone who needs this information and can find it useful. With that said, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.